Doing it again. This is week 17 of another podcast.
Hey, we might be very bad at making podcasts, but we're really consistent.
I think we're perfectly average.
Yeah?
We don't suck a ton, and we still got a lot to figure out. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, you do.
That's what I've been told.
Who said that?
A lot of people. Your podcast is average.
Who said that? I will fight them. Because they are lying to us, and they need to tell us the truth about how much our podcast sucks.
It doesn't suck.
Okay. You know what would be really fun to me?
What?
I mean, if you had a service, okay, and the service was this, is it shot amateur boxing fights of you and your friends exactly like UFC content?
Yeah.
And then you could actually settle things in the ring and then watch it back. And there'd be a commentator and everything. That would be so funny to me. Like, I would pay big money to be like, Jared versus Cody. You know what I mean? And it has all the fun, stuff.
It's probably only like 20 people that would pay to watch that, but...
I know, but it would be really fun to me. Watch you either get the hell beat out of you or beat the crap out of Cody. That would be so funny. I would, never think that's not funny.
Do you remember boxing at church camp?
Oh, yeah.
We were in
It
the
always
band?
got too
Did you fight a fight, or did you
Yeah,
just
I fought a
watch?
fight.
Did you win?
No. I wouldn't have won, but I did get mad.
You got
That's
mad?
what's funny about it.
Wait,
okay?
let's recap this. In your boxing match at church camp, whenever we were...
No, this was when we were camp counselor, musician people.
Yes, that one.
At Disney.
Yeah, Disney, Oklahoma.
Disney, Oklahoma, yeah. And then we were down in that, it's like us and all the kids that were hanging
It's like
out.
a counselor cabin.
There was one attractive girl there that everybody liked.
Annie.
Oh, that was her name, Annie.
She looked like Pam from The Office.
She did look like Pam from The Office.
She did.
And it's like, so you downloaded all of that charm into this crush that you had on Annie, and everybody liked her. Literally everyone. There wasn't a single person.
And she was in the audience whenever we were having these fights. I mean, she was there watching.
Yeah, she was in the room watching us. It was just hormonally driven. We were all raging teenagers.
I'm going to impress Annie.
I gotta do it for Annie. Oh man, yeah. And then there was a guy who I feel like, and I don't remember. I have somebody in my phone.
From there?
Yeah, that I only have their first name.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Back in the day, we didn't even have our last names programmed as our phone numbers. We had brick phones. Someone's phone number has carried over the whole time.
I wonder if I have any from there. I'm going to check and see.
Guarantee it. If you look up people that don't have last names in your iPhone.
I mean, this is a little boring, but I'm just going to check. Nope, I don't have anything.
But yeah, that was a crazy time.
That was.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember who you fought?
Cody.
Oh, you and Cody fought?
Yeah.
And he beat you?
Well, I don't know. How do you judge a win?
I don't know.
Or loss of that?
I don't know.
There was a little guy though that I'm convinced is gay. Remember? And it was Baptist church camp, so it's he was not being gay, but super gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was it? 2006?
2006? I don't know. But they paired me with
It was a long time ago.
the fittest guy in the camp.
Oh,
and I was this scrawny redhead. And I'm like, why am I fighting this
Why
guy?
we were like,
I'm trying to impress Annie. Okay? And you pair me with this guy?
I can't impress Annie if they make me fight the ringer.
So I put everything I had into it.
Why do I
did
have to
pretty good.
fight Mike Tyson? Why is that?
So we're going to do Donnie versus Cody and Jared against Mike Tyson. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
He bit my ear off. Bleeding.
That's fun.
He's a rabid dog. Why did you make me fight him? Oh, man. No, that was good times. Okay, now that we're talking about it, that's crazy. So this was a very special time, and I feel like in our lives, because we were just old enough to have cars.
Yep.
Just good enough at music to get a job like that.
Were we still in high school? Yeah.
Oh,
we were in the last...
We were like sophomores or juniors. We were not seniors. It was the world was opening up like a flower. And we were experiencing freedom. I remember going to Disney, driving out there in the little blue Lancer. Mm-hmm. And then we got there and we got just enough freedom that it was too much freedom. I remember being like, they shouldn't let us out. They need to keep us inside. You remember going to the cowboy town in the dark?
Yeah.
Do you remember that one night where we walked up in there and it got really creepy? We all got freaked out?
Yep. I think we talked about it a little bit in the previous episode.
Did we really?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, that was okay. At the time, we said, I think we all kind of agreed it felt like a spiritual experience. But what do you think about that now?
I still think that's probably the case.
Oh, yeah, well, tell the story. Tell the story.
We were like walking past, we were in the cowboy town.
We had left the entire the camp area, and we'd walked about
down the road to the cowboy
mile.
town, and we were basically just passing it. We weren't really going in it, and all of a sudden we just all went like, "Oh, did you feel that? Did you feel that? Did you feel?" And we all felt it at the same time, and it just felt like this evil,
like tingly,
evil tingle.
Yeah, and it was like we were, you know how old cowboy buildings, they always have like the wooden walkway.
Yeah,
that's not in the middle of the street. We were on that thing. And there was it was like a shopping center, basically.
Right.
And we were looking in all the abandoned store windows and everything. Clearly not supposed to be there. It's in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
We just got away with everything.
Experimenting with our freedom by walking on the road.
At night.
For
some reason. That was like edgy. Wasn't that big of a deal now. But then, man, it felt like such an adventure. You know how you take a cat and you stick him in a new room and he's like, and then he just goes to the wall and he walks around the whole side of the side.
Yep.
Like he just figures out everything. I think that's kind of what we were doing.
Yep, probably.
They plopped us in a brand new place. We're like,
huh. I'm curious. I will adventure.
Oh, you know what else a cat does that's really hilarious that I feel like humans do, but we don't notice that we do it? Is a cat will just stare at the corner. You never notice that? I don't know what it is with corners.
No, I haven't noticed that, but I do that.
Those, yeah.
I do that myself.
But I mean, it's a metaphor for what humans do because we're all like trying to figure out our space. It's unmapped. We don't know. Anytime I'm anxious or like upset or depressed or whatever, it's usually because I don't know what's going around me. And I need to like sit down, think about it. Is what I'm afraid of really what's happening?
Right.
And that's always the question I have to ask myself when I'm anxious or freaking out.
There's this funny line that I heard this week about cats, and it was this. So a dog, you feed them, you give them water, you play with them, and they think, they must be God.
Right.
All right? And then
I am God to cats. I mean, sorry, to dogs, not to cats.
A cat, you feed them, you give them water, you play with them, and they think, I must be God.
Yeah. I have a servant.
I have a servant.
I have a huge servant. And he doesn't
food.
realize that he can eat me. Cats are so different, bro.
They are.
Well, that actually kind of reminds me, I wanted to mention something because we're talking about it. I was talking about unexplored space and how that makes me anxious, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had this experience with a friend,
recently?
actually a business colleague, recently, where we had a bad interaction.
What happened?
Like we were around some of our fellow employees, and
This is like a band?
yeah,
Okay.
some of the musicians we had hired,
Okay.
and we were doing a song that we always do. It's a pretty easy song, except for it has one little complex section in it. Mm-hmm. And I messed it up. It's not uncommon for me to make mistakes, but this particular time, this homie of mine stops the track because we were, practicing along the track, and he's like, "We're gonna skip this one." I'm like, "Why? This is a pretty easy song. Why don't we just work it out?" And he's like, "We're skipping it because you always mess it up."
Oh.
That felt really bad. Now,
And he said this in front of everybody.
everybody, yeah. And so that really got me in my head. Like,
did you become?
Like a
were you
lot.
feeling mad or just like embarrassed or what were you feeling?
well, I was feeling a lot of things, but mainly it hit me right in my insecurities. So
Right.
it got me right in the spot that I'm like, yeah, and he knows he's on to me.
He's on me. He knows.
He knows that
He's
I'm
starting
not
to figure
that.
out I don't know how to play bass.
Yeah. He knows that I'm, and it's not that I don't know how to play bass. It's that I'm not disciplined enough, right? memorized that more expensive section. I hadn't done the work,
Right.
But actually I had. On this one particular song, I had actually worked pretty hard at getting that one spot right, and I just happened to make the mistake again. It's like what I feel like what happens with your brain is that you're working on something, and then if you map out your neural pathways to like do something a certain way, if you've made a mistake like a bunch of times, your brain's like, it's the right thing. That mistake's the right thing.
This is how we do it every time.
Yeah, come on. So in the moments where you're trying to correct the mistake, you actually have to unprogram the mistake and then like rewrite the right thing. I just hadn't, like, I went over the song many times the night before, but my emergency programming was like, and I played the wrong thing. Right?
Yeah. So what happened?
So what happened was that it affected my relationship with him on a profound level. It was the first time we had ever actually gotten into a situation like that, where I had felt like betrayed, or I mean, this happens all the time between anyone who's friends. Like, I don't remember the last time we got into something that bad, but we don't put ourselves into positions where we have to work that hard with that high stakes
to fix
together.
Something.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure we would eventually if
Right.
we were working that hard, and that like something would snap. Somebody would finally have enough of whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought that it was like, oh man, I thought it was more than just this guy is mad at me for not knowing that little section. I thought it was for sure like he no longer values our friendship. He doesn't want to continue our business relations. Like all of this, like all these different feelings and negative thoughts like flooded in, and then for a week, I was just like couldn't get over it. And I talked about it. I talked to my cousin Jordan for like an hour about it.
Really?
And then I'd talked to this girl I was talking to. I've talked to a lot of people about it. And what was so funny is that we got on this gig came up that we were practicing for, and of course we go out and play the gig. And in my anxiety, I rehearsed a lot, so I was like super ready and crushed. It went really well. It was a great sounding gig. Things went very well for the most part. Certainly better than we'd played in the past at that venue. And then we played another gig the following day, and so I got to spend a lot of time with this guy. And although I was nervous that, hey, I might be driving this guy nuts in ways I don't understand, we got to talking about not just that, but like everything in his life. And that was just a brief little glimpse of like
what he's dealing with.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with me. The whole time.
Right.
The whole time I was like
he was dealing with something else.
Yeah, he was going through something completely different.
And you just
totally awful. And I just happened to be
there
at the wrong time, at the wrong way, doing the wrong thing. But it's so funny. Like, I mean, sure, I need to really be careful with my relationships. And yes, I need to work hard and be diligent and carry my weight as much as I can and pull more weight than I have to. So that way I'm not a burden to anyone else.
Right.
But in that moment, like it's moments like that I know that my brain will lie to me about reality.
Yeah, mine does too. I can really relate to him kind of because, actually a lot, because with my kids, like if I'm dealing with a day that's harder and like there's a lot of things going through my mind, my patience is basically non-existent. I don't want it to be that way. It just kind of naturally happens.
Right.
And so sometimes they don't get the best of me because I'm dealing with something else. And then I'll have to go back and apologize to my kids because I'm thinking about something stressful and they just happen to be there and they like ask me a question 5 times. I'm like, just stop it, or whatever, like quit doing that. And so I can relate to him a lot.
Totally.
About like that happening and it not actually being anything, you just being in the wrong spot though.
Yeah, and I know that my friend did not intend in any way for me to feel as absolute crap as I did.
Yeah, he probably didn't think about it like you thought about it.
Yeah, no, and I saw like we were in the car talking about it on the way to the gig, driving out of town to go do this gig. And I was like, yeah, man, my brain, when that sort of thing happens, it trips into something that I've dealt with my entire life, probably came from my childhood in some way, where I am afraid of being abandoned. Like, it just happened to hit that one little spot, that one fear that I have. And then the temptation for someone listening to this, or for me in a more immature state, would be to blame him. Be like, you acted like shit, and that made me feel terrible for a week. It's your fault.
Right.
But that's not what's happening. What's really happening is it's my responsibility to understand reality and compare it to my feelings and go, are my feelings out of whack? Well, the only way to know that is to have a real honest conversation. It took a week for me to actually have that conversation, and I suffered in that week. But, like, that was on me, not him. Yeah, should he have called me out in front of our bros? No.
Probably not.
No, and we made some ground rules that were actually his idea, not
That's
mine.
good.
No corrections in band practice.
That's good.
Yeah, he's the band leader for that band, so...
Because not only are you making your bud feel bad, but also you're creating a really awkward situation for everybody else there.
Sure.
Because it wasn't directed at them, but the fact that they had to see that tension between you and that guy, they were probably feeling, bad and in their head as well, just because they witnessed.
Yeah, they're like, I just got hired by this group, or I play in this
Especially
group.
if there's new people that you guys...
brand new guy.
There was a brand new guy and he witnessed...
Brand new guy.
Yeah, that's not
brand new guy
a
should
good
not have
first
seen
impression.
That. Yeah.
No.
Well, actually, brand new guy is also a dude that we play with every single week, though, and have for years. So at another place.
Oh, okay. So you knew him. He wasn't like a
that's why
guy.
It was so easy for it to happen, is because every one of us see each other 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's just like brothers.
So is being abandoned, that's your biggest fear in life?
I think so. Well, it's not. It's what's in there. It doesn't mean that I don't fear abandonment now.
Right.
I have all these cool skills.
Right.
I feel like I don't have a hard time making new friends. I make a new friend everywhere I go. So it's not that, but those skills came from that fear. I think genuinely. I would say that you became an entertaining person to be around because of probably your birth order. Like being in between Kristen and Justin. Yeah. And trying to stick out.
I actually like where I was birthed in my siblings. Like I got Justin, me, my 2 younger sisters. Feels like there's not a lot of pressure on either side. I'm just directly in the middle. And,
Well, there's something nice about that. I feel the same way a little bit. Like my parents, they didn't know what they were doing with the first one. At all. Yeah. And then
same thing with Justin. They didn't know what they were doing.
And then they worked it out with the second one.
Yeah.
And then the second one, and then me being the youngest, it was just like they just stopped caring.
That's funny. The first one, the parents are trying to figure it out. It's like, how do we do this? The second one, they're like, all right, we figured this out. The third one was like, okay, I'm almost kind of done parenting. The fourth was like, do whatever you want. I don't care anymore.
I guarantee you, Victoria gets away with murder.
She did.
Yeah, she gets everything. And you guys are like, Mom was so hard on me about that, and you just get to do it all the time.
I remember being out of the house and seeing how they were parenting Victoria, and it being very different than how me and Justin and even Kristen were parented.
That's exactly what my brothers say to me. They're like, why did Mom and Dad stop caring about everything with you? Yeah. And I'm like, because I'm the best.
Because I'm the best. They didn't need to parent me. It came out perfect.
Yeah, man. What came out?
Except for I fear abandonment.
Yes, for some reason. I think it just comes because I was alone all the time. I was just absolutely an actual only child in the house for 15 years or so, and so it was me, Legos, and the N64, and reruns of MASH. That was my childhood.
Reruns of MASH.
Yeah,
I remember you watching MASH a lot. I remember watching it and thinking, this show sucks.
Well, you suck. If you watch MASH now, you'd probably like it.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't given it another shot because I remember it sucking. So.
Well, it's in the same way you don't like Dune and I love Dune. I think it's the same.
I saw just a snippet from Dune.
Yeah.
Just like a trailer, and they said the word rebels in it. I was like, yeah, George Lucas did steal this.
Yes, absolutely. All the way. Yeah, he was like, I need to make a good sci-fi movie. What's a great sci-fi story? And it's 1965, literally 10 years before that book came out.
What is the most nostalgic movie for you as a kid? What movie do you rewatch and it just brings back all these childhood memories?
Ooh. Well, I think a lot of people would say Star Wars because
right. I was about to say it with the caveat of no Star Wars.
Yes. Yeah. It's not Star Wars for me, for sure. I remember being most connected to the art of filmmaking when I had seen Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful.
Yeah, it's this movie I saw when I was like 10 or 11. It won an Oscar. The dude who made the movie also starred in it. It was an Italian film.
When was it made?
Like late 90s.
Late
or
90s.
2000. Like,
Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful. It is my favorite film of all time, but I won't watch it.
Why?
Because if it's such a good film and the story is very powerful, I don't want to run that movie over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, it's heavy and dark and beautiful and amazing. It's set in World War II. It's a story of a guy in a concentration camp with his family. That's like as much as I'm going to say.
Oh, wow.
But it's called Life is Beautiful. And it is a masterpiece of filmmaking, like a beautiful film.
I've never seen it. We'll have to check it out.
But it tears me up, and I don't want that to get less potent. So I only watch it whenever I'm showing it to somebody else.
I see.
You know what I mean? And that doesn't happen very often, because like...
It's a heavy movie.
Yeah. And who's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to devote 2 hours of my time to go watching a foreign film from the 90s? You know, it's a hard sell.
How did you come across it?
We
or did you watch it with like your parents? Oh,
my parents rented it one
from
time.
like Blockbuster or something?
Yeah, back in the day.
Wow.
So it is a fantastic movie. And then I think that one and The Sound of Music.
Sound of Music's good.
Yeah, like it's you know, gay. But
I miss Blockbuster.
I love Julie Andrews and all of that music in The Sound of Music. So when I look back at my life, no wonder I like the music I like, because it just comes from that, you know, classic era of like musicals and, you know, rock music, Beatles, whatever.
Yep.
All kind of 60s.
Do you miss the Blockbuster experience?
Oh yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, what about it? Talk to me.
I just miss, like, whenever I was a kid, whenever I thought of something fun to do, I'd always think, okay, let's either go to Blockbuster, pick out some candy, and rent a movie or a game. And I'd ask Mom, like, every week, hey, could we go rent a game? And just going in the game section and just seeing all the different games I could pick from, and knowing that, you know, I could have whatever I wanted for 5 days.
Oh yeah.
Just that experience was fun for me.
Okay, can I tell you a Blockbuster story?
Yeah.
Okay, so video games were $2 more than a movie, right? They were $7 a week, like $1.20 a day or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then a movie was like $5, or if you went to the section of the movies that weren't popular, then those movies were like cheap. Right? So everybody around the Blockbuster, like there was a hierarchy, and your parents didn't want you to go get an expensive one, because especially the late fees on an N64 game were crazy, right?
Right.
Well, I convinced my parents that I was going to go get a game, and they didn't even want me to do it in the first place. They didn't like that, but I did, and I rented the most ass game of all time.
What was it?
The piece of shit game, like the worst game ever made.
Do you remember
by
what
Nintendo.
it was called?
And there's a whole video on this that Angry Video Game Nerd made that is the funniest to me, because I had this experience where I burned a whole week and a half's allowance on it. Superman 64.
Oh my God.
That game is a piece of shit, dude. That is the worst game.
It was bad.
I was so mad, because this is what happened. I had just watched Christopher Reeve's Superman 1, Superman 2, Superman 3. I watched every wheelchair guy's Superman movie.
And you're like, I want to be Superman.
Yes.
So I'm going to go play the Superman game.
I love Superman, and I was so into Superman, and I get the most ass game of all time, and burned a week and a half allowance. I could have been either a 3.25-inch Star Wars action figure or most of an Action Fleet vehicle, so I was pissed. I couldn't even beat like the training.
You couldn't beat the training?
No, it was so bad. I hope that you can find some footage of the worst game ever, because like look it up, link it to Angry Video Game Nerds video, because that is worth every bit of your time. Angry Video Game Nerds Superman 64. Oh, it's as Angry Video Game Nerds channel would say, it is a diarrhea dump in my ear. It's the worst game. Anyways, yeah. So that was the risk though that you took.
Right.
Is you'd go and you'd look at all the cool games, and of course they had the most amazing covers. Right.
Yep.
All of them had these beautiful covers, and you're like, every one of these games look amazing.
I know.
Right.
I was afraid of the risk of renting a bad game because I didn't want to spend my money.
Yeah.
And then play and get stuck with a game that sucks for a week.
Yeah.
So just like I am with food, I just kept renting the same game over and over again.
Which game?
Sunset Riders was one of them.
Yeah, but if at $5 a week, one semester of renting that, you would have bought it.
I know, I should have bought it because I rented it at least 20 times. I should have owned that game. I never
crazy.
owned Sunset Riders.
Yeah.
And I just kept renting it over and over again.
If somebody said, do you want to buy a Sunset Riders machine, like a Konami, I'd buy it. I'd find a place in my house for it.
Yeah.
Yahee!
I'd like that too. I have it on my Switch now, so I don't need to, but...
Is it on your Switch?
Yeah, it's on Switch.
It's on the...
Yeah, you can get it on Switch.
Oh my God. Maybe we need to do a little bit of that.
It's just as great as it used to be.
Oh, I know.
It's just as good as it was when I was a kid.
Money.
And now my son plays it, and he loves it, so it's
like
great.
the best. They haven't made a better cowboy game. Do you think it's better than Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah, no. I mean... no. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the best game of all time.
Is it really?
It is the best game of all time.
What if they did it, they did a Red Dead Redemption, but it looked like Sunset Riders?
I don't understand how that would...
the cartoony...
I know. I mean, I don't... but no.
And all the funniness of, like, the characters and, like... But it happened to be in the engine of Red Dead Redemption.
No, I guess it'd be interesting. I don't know.
It's like Grand Theft Auto, Cowboys, but it's the Sunset Riders guys, and then the hilarious bad dudes.
I don't know how that would be.
I would love a 3D, like, hilarious Sunset Riders. I would love that.
Yeah.
I'd play that all day.
I would too. But my son... So he's playing that game too, and I've noticed something about myself.
Yeah.
Everything that I loved when I was a kid,
right?
I want my son to love,
right?
So I keep like encouraging him, be like, "Hey, bud, check out this cool Fisher Price toy that I had as a kid."
Yeah, you literally didn't you buy the whole castle?
I had a castle, the Fisher Price
ship?
pirate ship, castle, and Western Town. And whenever at some point, I guess I sold mine at a garage sale, and I didn't have it anymore. And my kid was I was watching him play with action figures, and I thought, he needs to have my favorite toy when I was a kid. So I went onto eBay, and I found it, and each set was like $400.
Oh, yeah, so $1,500 in.
So I bought them all. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's for the memories. And so I bought him all my favorite toys when I was a kid. I keep like showing him all my favorite games.
Is it kind of like when you buy a cat a toy and it just like wants to play in the box? Does he like?
Yeah, he's not really into it anymore because it's been like a year or so. So he's got new toys he's more interested in.
Oh man, I'm 35 years old, but if that toy set was here, I'd be shooting the cannon off the top of at the pirate ship. And the pirate ship had one too, and you had these like gray stones that were like the ammo.
Yeah.
Bro, that was a really cool toy.
It was a great toy. So I buy him all my favorite childhood toys. I make him play all my favorite childhood games. And it's working. He's loving everything that I love.
Oh my gosh, dude. At the time that we were playing with the castle, Braveheart came out.
Oh yeah.
And so they're pouring the oil on the guy.
Do you remember your first rated R movie?
I think.
Do you remember what it was?
Because I remember my brother, whenever I was like 10, being like, "Mom wouldn't want you to see this," and I was like,
"We're gonna watch it anyways."
What is that to you? What is it to you, Shay? Like, I'm 10. I want to watch whatever. He's like, "Okay." And so we put in Braveheart at his house, and this is like he's renting a house, and he's in his 20s.
Was that your first pair of boobs that you saw?
Oh, he's fast forwarding through the titties. I didn't see those.
Man, 10-year-old you would have been so excited.
Yeah, I would have been like, whoa!
I remember watching Titanic with my parents, and they're like, "All right, boys, cover your eyes," and I did this. And then Dad looked over at me and goes, "Your eyes are not covered." Yes, they are.
And you're like,
they're so curious. I was curious.
I don't blame you. Anyways, so Braveheart. All I could remember was whenever they poured the oil on the guys with the log trying to get in the castle. That was whenever I was like, Shay, I think we need to stop this.
My 10-year-old eyes can't handle
this. They literally boiled those dudes alive down there and set them on fire with an arrow. Like,
I can't handle this.
Think this is bad for me.
I'm like 98% certain that my first rated R movie was The Patriot in the theater with my dad.
Excellent rated R movie.
And I loved it.
Also, British people hate that movie so much.
Who?
Why would they hate that movie so much?
Who hates that movie so much?
British people.
Oh, British people.
Sucks to suck, British people. You lost. Get over it.
Get over it.
We wanted our land.
We wanted our land. Well, now we're best friends with the British, so it's great. But I remember watching...
The Scottish people are still kind of like, give us our land.
I remember watching it in the theater, and the scene that sticks out the most when I was a kid is that scene where they're like all in the battle.
Yeah.
And you see this ball go poof, or this cannonball go poof.
Oh, it knocks the guy's leg off.
And then it comes right at the camera. Yeah. So when I was in the theater, I literally went, like it was coming at me. And then the dude's head falls off.
Oh, it's the head. Oh, God.
I was like, oh my God. Rated R movies are awesome.
Was it in that movie a guy got his whole leg, like this much of his leg knocked off?
I think that was Braveheart.
And he was like, ah.
I think that was Braveheart.
Hobbling around.
I think maybe that happened in The Patriot too.
I don't know.
They're both Mel Gibson movies, so it probably happened in both.
There was this part where Mel Gibson goes nuts in that movie and just starts chopping a guy up.
Yeah.
And I was like,
God, that movie, just like...
he's dead. You can stop now.
Just like the whole just template of that movie, The Patriot, is so good because it gets you so emotionally involved with all of the characters. Like the first son, if you haven't seen it, which whatever, spoiler alert.
I love how
you've had like 20 years, so whatever.
I've literally watched videos on YouTube of British guys being like, "This movie's shit
because we lost the war."
No, like they go through and they're like, "That's not right," or whatever. I don't know. God, I can't do the accent. But like they're like, "This is historically inaccurate." This is why
Mel Gibson didn't live in the 1600s.
And like we're like the most Americans being like, "Yeah,
that guy's head fell off."
Oh, but it was timely. It was a timely movie because what year was it? Was it 2002?
It was like early 2000s. I'm pretty sure, if not late 90s.
You have to put it in the context of 9/11, which is something I actually wanted to bring up to talk to you about.
Sure, but I wanted to say one more thing about that movie. The Patriot is still one of my favorite movies of all time.
Well, yeah, because it hit you.
Because it made you so emotionally connected to all the characters. Even whenever the first son died, he wasn't in the movie for very long, but still, you felt like, oh my God.
Right.
He's dead.
Oh, Heath Ledger was in that.
Heath Ledger was in that.
And he was the older son.
Yeah, just everything about that movie. Just like...
It was a masterfully made movie.
Masterfully made.
And it seems like it was kind of agendaless other than the British suck.
It was a what?
Agendaless. It didn't have an agenda. It was just like, America rules.
Right. It was just like a,
We love freedom.
A story about a dad and his sons, and then him overpowering all the
no taxation without representation, bitch.
It was so great.
We loved it. Yeah,
that's another one that I listen to in the car whenever I don't want to listen.
You listen to the?
I love that movie.
You know what? There's a lot of that movie I really do love. I think the cool thing about it, as like archetypal characters, is that you genuinely like when I grow up. I'm gonna be like Mel Gibson from The Patriot. He's like a cool guy who loves his family. He makes furniture. Remember, he would always make chairs and then they would break when he'd try to sit in them.
My wife wanted to marry a carpenter.
Yeah, why not?
She got me instead.
Yeah, well, yeah. Still time to learn.
Still time to learn.
I loved it. Yeah, he was making a rocking chair and he like worked really, really hard and he's like, it's finally time to sit in it. And he sits and it breaks and he's like, oh, breaking it. There was like genuine, like, I can see myself.
Yeah, it was so good. And another thing I love about something that makes me like a movie is whenever the villain is so evil, I hate him. If I hate a villain in the movie, I'm super into the movie. If I don't really care about the villain, then most likely I'm never going to watch that movie again. But if you can make me feel emotion on hating the guy that's supposed to be the bad guy in your movie, I'm hooked.
So that's a little different than I feel like the postmodern take on villains has been in the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. In the last 15 years, it has been like, make the villain, you kind of like him. You're like, I could kind of see myself kind of being the bad guy. And then they kill him, and you're like, ooh. Yeah, but it was ambiguous. The hero was kind of wrong, and the villain was kind of right. And they do a lot of that.
Right.
It's like, that's like, oh, subversive and twisty.
Right.
But as a 10-year-old, I don't need that. No. So I think there's kind of like I'm criticizing filmmaking right now because
yeah, that's something I was going to say.
There's some values that we're not seeing anymore in film.
Movies nowadays don't really compare to movies in like the late 90s or early 2000s. There's just so many well put together movies that came from that time. I mean, there's still good movies that come out now, but not as many as that time, in my opinion. Hot take.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right, but I think it has to do with the literal telling of stories that are not ambiguous. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, when we go back and we talk about these movies that we really like, there are clear protagonists and clear antagonists. And so we get to see values portrayed. Like, humans love stories. That's how we learn. That's how we experience. Like, I guess storytelling probably developed because one guy went out in the woods one day and he came back and he was like, I have to tell every other monkey about the tiger. and so like we got really good at being like, tiger, bad. One day, tiger come, jungle. You not in tree, get eaten, bad. You know? And so like that evolved over time, I feel like, to be this thing that we do where we go, hey, you know what's a really good value is selflessness and acting courageously and doing the right thing whenever it's necessary, you know?
Yeah.
And so then when you have heroes, you can look at them and go, William Wallace. Yes.
William Wallace.
Guy from Patriot. Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Yes, gets girl. Tom Cruise flies jets, gets girl. You know? Like all these.
That was that's a series that had a great sequel.
Yes.
Did you like
that?
But
because it was not ambiguous at all.
Right.
It was like, my dad died. My dad was Goose. I'm Maverick. I'm your dad's friend. I'll help you, son. And then like,
I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
You are why my dad is dead.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I tried my best. I'll help you. Become best jet pilot.
It was definitely a early 2000s, late 90s kind of style.
That's exactly why everybody loved it. Is because it got away from this like ambiguity and like wishy-washiness, and it was just like good guy, bad guy. We don't even know who the bad guys are. Did you know Top Gun 2 never tells anybody who the bad guys are? It's like the black jets are the bad guys.
Yeah, I didn't even.
And you're just like, yeah, oh no, the bad guy jets. Oh no, the missiles.
I was so into it, I guess I didn't even think about it or care.
Because all that it's about is hero going to overcome. Is the hero, whoever it is, whether it's Maverick or it's Goose's son or whatever, is he going to step into the unknown and conquer the thing? Mm-hmm. And we need to know that it's okay to step into the unknown, and then if you persevere, you will conquer the thing. Right. It's just the story we need to get told a lot, so that way we'll go out and do hard stuff.
Yeah.
So Top Gun made everybody go, yes, and we didn't even have to know if it was the Chinese, the Koreans, the Russians, the whoever it could have been. It didn't matter. It was just like, bad guy jets.
Watch out for the bad guy jets.
Look out.
Guys, we got to go get those bad guy jets.
Yeah. Look out. Over there, there's bad guy jets, and there's bad guy missiles, and we got to go down the bad guy canyon and shoot the missile into the bad guy hole.
Canyon, the bad guy missiles get you. So,
got it. Yeah. That's literally the whole thing.
Another great movie, Last Samurai. Did you see that one?
Yes. Okay. Also, completely historically inaccurate. Don't care.
Don't care. Great
not
movie.
Care. I'm like,
great movie.
I'm gonna buy a sword.
I want to go to Japan and become a samurai now.
Yes.
Find a small town and help.
The Japanese people are like, stop coming here.
Stop trying to be Tom Cruise. God.
Stop coming here. Stop trying to be a samurai. We got enough of those. We were better at it anyways.
Did you see the end of that movie? We have bullets now. We're not training samurai anymore.
Stop buying all of our cool samurai gear, taking it back to America. You can't even use it over there.
So funny.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so people who love to like take a shit on those old movies that are totally wrong, I get it, aren't understanding the deeper truth of the movie, which is you're the protagonist of your story and you need to be encouraged to overcome obstacles. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when I'm feeling like, this is why I started Dono's Dudes, as I have this little thing we get together once a week. I haven't been planning it for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, but I'm gonna have to get back into it because we'll watch movies like that.
Right.
Like that's the only rule, is that it has to be a movie like that. We'll have pizza, drink some beers, and we'll watch a movie like that instead of like, I don't know.
Well, if you haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, that's one that you should watch.
I haven't seen that yet, no.
You should watch that with your war movie bros. You guys will love it. It's directed
great.
by Mel Gibson. Hacksaw Ridge. Yeah.
Oh, Mel's involved. All right, I'll do it.
It's got Andrew Garfield in it, and he does a great job.
I am kind of annoyed with him, though.
With Mel Gibson?
Yeah, when he got drunk and started saying all that anti-Semitic.
Oh, that was like 20 years ago.
I know, but it's so funny. Like, why is my guy got to do that?
I don't know. You know, we all do stupid things.
Stop
sometimes.
blaming the Jews, Mel.
Yeah. He's not anymore. That was old Mel.
Yeah, it was drunk Mel.
It was drunk Mel. Old drunk Mel.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
He shouldn't have done that. It was an awful thing to do, but come on. Everybody's going to do stupid stuff. We can't
Short-sighted.
If you want to make a mistake and make it to where I hold it against you forever, then we can do that.
No, I don't want that.
Okay, so don't do it to Mel Gibson.
We wouldn't be friends. Oh, I'm not doing it to Mel. I think Mel's great.
I'm just joking.
You know what's funny is I saw Robert Downey Jr. publicly at like one of those like events be like, hey, you know who helped me get off drugs and like get me back into it? And he's like, it's Mel.
Yeah.
So let this guy back in.
Yeah.
You know?
Forgive and forget.
I wonder if he's
we all do stupid things.
I wonder if he's going to make more movies.
Mel Gibson?
Yeah, I never saw Apocalypto.
You never saw Apocalypto?
No, was it good?
Oh my goodness, that's another one you got to watch with your bros. It's so good.
So it was just a classically like a good
both those movies
story,
are very good. What was I going to say before that? Oh God, what were you saying?
Well, I wanted to put these stories in context of the time that we grew up because specifically I wanted to talk about 9/11.
Right.
Because like I was having a conversation with someone our age that was like, yeah, you know, I kind of feel like you shouldn't be able to drive if you can't remember 9/11 or vote. But now kids who are literally weren't even born are now driving.
In their 20s.
Yeah, and I'm
like,
like,
that's crazy to think about.
And like, can you imagine a world where like every generation has had these different tragedies to kind of deal with and remember and overcome? Our families
dealt with like the Kennedy assassination.
Yes.
Yeah.
My parents particularly actually were old enough to experience post World War II, literally right after World War II. My parents were born in 48 and 51.
That's crazy.
So right after World War II ended, my parents were literally products of the baby boom. Like my grandpa came home and was like, "Yes, Grandma," and then there they are, and then get away from me, Joe! Not again. And then they went to Vietnam, and then your parents saw Desert Storm.
Yeah.
And then we experienced 9/11.
Yeah. Do you remember where we were together whenever it happened. Do you remember where you were whenever 9/11
That's
happened?
what I was going to ask you. Like, you remember what your perspective was? I can tell you all about mine, but I want to hear yours.
I remember being at Cornerstone, and we were in I just got to history class. Mm-hmm. And there was a TV in the back room, and everybody was watching it. And I didn't really know what was going on whenever I walked in, but everybody looked concerned. And I go sit down at the table at the chair close to the TV because I was so curious. And I saw the two towers, smoking.
Oh, you'd seen them both.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what happened. I got to history class like right whenever it was happening. And
yeah, history was whenever Ms. McLemore pulled the TV out.
Yes,
it was like, we're going to watch this.
And as I was like learning about what was happening today,
Yeah.
She decided that it was too graphic and took the TV out of our classroom. And then we proceeded to talk about it for like 30 minutes. I was so confused. I was like, we
had no idea what was going on.
I was confused as to why in history they're taking what is going to be history out of history class. I was like, this is like we should be really filled in on what's happening here. But I guess.
I mean, you have to think. You have to think about. I think Ms. McLemore making the decision to pull the TV out of the room was probably more because she was afraid of what the parents would think if she let the kids watch an atrocity. Which she I think that's wrong. But also, like, can you blame her?
No, I get that.
You can't blame her.
I don't remember really feeling much in the moment because
this is what I thought, because I remember being there at first hour. So it was like 9 o'clock in the morning Central, I think, whenever it started going down. But I was there. I'd been in class already, and there's people talking about, like, hey, plane hit a building. And I was like, wow, drunk pilots, man. Like, that's all I could think is, like, another airplane accident? Because this is not the first time we'd heard this. In 94, the Murrah building had been bombed, but they had said it was an airplane at first in Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah.
Which is also a crazy thing. Oh my, you remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that building blowing up?
Yep.
That's crazy. There's no way that was just one truck full of fertilizer, but it doesn't matter. I probably shouldn't talk about that.
No, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah. So the first plane hits, and I'm just thinking, like, what, a guy ran an airplane into in a building, and all I could think was it was a Cessna. In my head, it was like, you know, the little plane with the wing on the top and the one engine, and it like I was like, oh yeah, some guy just John Denvered it right into the building, you know?
Yeah,
that's what I thought. And then people were like really freaking out about it between classes, and I was like, what's this all about? And I remember going to the office right before Ms. McLemore's class and being like, what's going on? Somebody just running planes into buildings? And they're like, yeah, something like that. It's crazy. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I went to history, and that's when she pulled in the thing and the second one had hit.
Wow. So you saw, because I can't remember exactly what was on the screen. So did the second one hit as we were watching the TV?
To do that,
I don't think so. Shh, Siri, be quiet. I don't know.
I guess it doesn't really matter. But yeah, we were together when it happened. So on September 11th, 2001,
right,
we were together when it happened.
Yeah, we were in class,
yeah,
for sure. And
it's literally 23 years ago now at this point.
Yeah.
The people,
I remember
the kids that weren't born at that point can drink now.
Yes. Crazy. So, this was deeply impactful. I remember that day being like, Jasmine was in New York. I remember our friend Jasmine was in New York.
Oh, yeah.
At the time. And so I had genuine concern. I was very actually concerned for her. And I remember either calling them or...
Yeah, I remember us checking up on her because I remember
hearing
that she wasn't actually in New York. She was like on the outskirts.
Yeah, and they were like, we're okay.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember that feeling. I remember at the time we were 13 years old. And if it's a good thing we weren't any older, because if it had happened 2 years later, I would have enlisted.
You would have enlisted?
Definitely. Or when I wanted to. I was ready to kick ass.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if that was I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I think it probably was. I think there is a, here's the question. Here's the big question. And so this is the question that comes out of it. Patriotism. We've been talking about the Patriot. We've been talking about cool war movies. We've been talking about these archetypal ideas that are good, that men love to see and like need to hear and to be encouraged about. But is patriotism, which is this like love of country, how important should that be to people or to you? And like, is it a good thing? Can it be a bad thing?
So I think it's pretty important, and this is why I think it's pretty important. Whenever you love something, you take care of it. If you if you don't love it, then you kind of just let it get dust on it and break and all that stuff. But if there's something that you really, really love, you take the best care you possibly can of it. So patriotism, this love of country, I think is incredibly important, because if we don't have it, then there's no chance we could be the greatest country of all time. And there's no chance we would be fighting people that are trying to do us wrong. I don't think we need to go looking for fights or something, but I think it's important to love where you live so it can continue to improve. and be taken care of.
You don't think there's any way that can get out of control?
Well, I'm sure that there's people that take it to an extreme, just like anything. So yeah, I think it'd be taken out of control. So but I think it's important still.
Yeah, I mean, here's where the whole thing swings into a zone that I don't know what is right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so 9/11 happens, and whether it was, some people think it was an inside job, right? They say crazy things like that, or maybe that's not crazy. I don't know, but it put us into a war away from America, not on our soil, very far away, in a place that I don't, to this day, understand even a little bit. And I don't know if it was effective at
I'm not sure.
accomplishing the goal. So,
I was confused by the after effects of...
Because everyone was saying it was this guy or that guy, and
right.
we didn't know which guy it was, and they were like, it's Osama. And then we're like, okay. So if they think it's Osama bin Laden, great. Let's just go get that guy. And then we were there forever.
Yeah.
We were there until literally like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
That
was like 20 years
We
ago.
could not leave that country. We had kicked ass over there, and then we messed it up so bad we had to stay. Mm-hmm. And so, man,
I don't know if that's necessarily patriotism. I think that's just...
Well, the patriotism would have led me to join that. That's my point, is like if I would have been 18,
okay,
I would have been like, let's go. And then I would have been over in some country doing something because they got us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it would be continuing the cycle of violence. I feel like there was a closed case, a done deal about World War II, because you're like, Hitler bad, go kill Hitler, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, no, absolutely, full on, let's get him. We go over there, kick ass, come home. Mm-hmm. But that's not what happened with what happened out there. And it's just too tied into too much stuff doesn't seem like we were in any danger. Like, so we have to tighten up our airport security. Okay, done. That was kind of the solve of the problem. Mm-hmm. That might... you know what I mean? Yeah. That's where I'm like, I love patriotism, but my patriotism might inspire me to be more of a peacemonger than a warmonger. Yeah. Somebody who...
I think there's different versions
wants peace. Like,
patriotism.
you can be a patriot and still be like, we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just know that I'm glad that I wasn't any older, because then I would have probably had a PTSD situation right now.
Yeah.
Where I'd been like, man, I really wish I wouldn't have killed these guys over there, that I don't fully understand why I had to do it.
I remember before 9/11 being a kid and going to the airport and being able to walk up to the gate that my dad was coming on.
Oh, I remember that too.
And
I hate that we can't do that now.
Yeah, it sucks that you can't do it enough. I mean, whatever, just if everybody's safer. But yeah, it was a very different experience.
I don't know if we are any safer. If they just gave the pilots like the means to defend themselves from...
Or maybe just like getting rid of that door that leads to the main thing. You know what I mean?
Or just letting them lock it?
Yeah, just like there's a different door the pilot goes into compared to everything else. And maybe that would eliminate any chance of that happening.
Yeah, it just kind of, I guess it felt inconceivable because no one had tried to do that to us. I don't know, but there's so many more creative solutions than the loss of freedom that we see at the airports, or I don't know. But yeah, so because of all this, all these really tough questions that we had to deal with, man, it really feels like the kids these days are soft. Like, I mean, not that we saw anything particular. We didn't go to war like you and I didn't.
Right.
So we're soft.
Right. I was just about to say, I think every generation...
It's 2 generations soft.
I think every generation thinks the new generation is soft, because whenever we were kids, our parents were like dealing with Vietnam and stuff, and then we were born like, our kids are soft. And now that we're in our 30s, we're thinking the new generation is soft. But actually, I think that's a little bit more legitimate, because...
The new generation is 2 generations soft, and they're boned.
They're boned.
They're done.
They can't...
they're like
Yeah. They're like, 8 seconds, that's too long. Skip. You know?
Oh my
Attention
God.
span is bad.
Yeah, you try to get your kids to watch a John Wayne movie? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're like, there's not even any colors on
That's
this.
why movies aren't doing as well anymore, is because they're like, 2 hours!
2 whole hours?
God! I'd rather poke myself in the eye with a stick.
That was better.
That's way better. Oh my God.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I don't know.
We do have to make this
I think-
episode shorter than normal.
Okay, well.
But finish your thought. I want to hear your last thought on this.
I hope and I do believe that the kids these days will surprise us.
I hope so too.
I think they might. I've heard I've seen some crazy things with kids because I work with kids at the youth group on Wednesdays, and then I'm around some younger people right now. It was Randy's niece and everything, and they're surprising because they don't like it either. I think they know.
They know.
They're like, we're lame, dude. We gotta. And I think that there's going to be a backlash, I think.
Yeah.
Especially whenever it starts becoming like absolute fact and empirical and undeniable that like cell phones are rotting your brain, and like I just think it's crazy like hearing about like sperm counts being low and like
Really?
kids not like hooking up at all. I'm like,
God.
what's wrong with these kids?
The
man?
other,
They're afraid of each other. I'd almost rather have all the pregnancy scares and like all the all the things that we dealt with, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, than these like impotent like lackluster like situations. Like,
This generation will stand in a room and just communicate through their phone.
I hate it. That's so crazy.
So crazy.
It's like y'all need to make out with each other. Yeah.
For some reason, I gotta say this, and then I want to do
Yeah.
our dad jokes. Recently, I discovered one of the most satisfying things for me.
Yeah.
And so I was showing my son some of the videos, shorts that I've been making,
Yeah.
and he was watching it,
Yeah.
and he just started laughing hysterically, like
Right.
loving what I was making.
Yeah.
And to the point where he's like, "Dad, let's watch it again. Dad,
no.
let's watch it again."
Yeah.
And just sitting there watching my son, who I helped create.
Yeah.
I just did a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Not much. But anyways, just seeing him just love something that I was making.
Yeah.
It was like one of the most satisfying moments I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
To the point he loved it so much. He literally sat there and just watched everything I had made in like the last 10 years. He's like, "Dad, you got any more videos? Dad, you want to see more videos?"
Oh, wow.
Just watched them all. And
That's
then,
because his little brain hasn't like seen a bunch of other stuff, and so it's mind blowing, and it's
Yeah.
distilled because you've gotten better and better and better over time. Did he get through like towards your Vine days, and then be
Oh
like,
no, I don't.
be like, man, these weren't as good.
No. But I showed him. I accidentally showed him. I made one where it's the Terrible Assassin. It's on.
Oh
it's on
yeah,
my
I remember
old
that. It was
YouTube
a high
channel.
budget looking thing. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And in that one, I get shot in the head.
Yeah.
And I forgot that one was on there. And he was watching all my videos. He got to that one, and all of a sudden I hear him go, "Daddy's dead!" And I'm like, "No, what? What are you
right
talking
here."
about?" He's like, "You just got shot." I was like, "Oh God, yeah, that video isn't there." "No, I'm all right, bud. It's just pretend." "Uncle, you shot Dad."
Oh my god, bro.
Like, "No, bud, no,
That's
it's just pretend. I'm
crazy.
sorry. Oh, I should have remembered that video was
Oh,
on there."
man.
I had to deal with that, but it was so satisfying just seeing seeing my son love my content. After he was done watching it, he wanted to make his own content. He just started quoting my videos in videos he was making. And it was
That's
just,
so great.
It was so
Dude,
cool.
I saw Hugh with Trey
Oh yeah, when?
yesterday
Oh,
or day
really?
before yesterday at a coffee shop. Okay, but it was really funny.
Okay,
I
what
saw Uncle
happened?
Hugh and I saw Trey. They're sitting there working on stuff together, but they both had the big over-the-ear Bluetooth headphones. And what was so funny is that at one point they're having a conversation with each other and looking like normal, and then both of them at the same time like glazed over and were like looking at their computers, and they're double chinning at both of them.
Did you say hi to him or anything?
Yeah, I did. I threw stuff at him. I was like, Hugh!
Hello!
And then it was funny because they both kind of woke up from their computer slumber.
Their computer days.
You know, like, it's like this really funny thing, but like, man, it's silly. Yeah, just how weird technology has changed.
Yeah. And
How
changed
people
our
interact.
daily life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how we interact.
Got to go to lunch with Nathan,
And I gotta get-
one of our 2 fans.
We gotta get these dad jokes in because they do so well on shorts. They
Okay.
kill it. Are you ready?
Yep, you want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. Go first.
I know a bunch of jokes about retired people.
Okay.
Yeah, but none of them work.
It's pretty good. I like that one. I think my phone is broken.
Yeah?
I hit the home button. And I was still at work.
I didn't like that one.
You just gave me a sympathy laugh.
Yep.
Nice. Go ahead.
What does a house wear?
Something with windows?
Address.
Oh. I get it. Nice.
Okay.
I like this. You're going to love this one.
All right.
I combined laxative with alphabet soup.
Okay.
I call it let her rip.
I did like that one. Who's in for some letter rip? One for you, one for you.
What's in it? It's a mystery.
Yeah, you're gonna find out.
You'll know later.
You'll see.
You'll see.
Who wants to eat some letter rip? Oh my God! What if you saw a nice Campbell's letter rip? Just had a toilet on there.
All right.
My son asked me to put his shoes on
Really?
for him. Yeah, but I don't think they'll fit me.
You're probably right. What do you call a cow that's twerking?
A twerking cow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Twerking cow? I don't know.
A milkshake.
Damn it. I wanted it so bad. I was so close. I was thinking like ass shaking. So I was like, that's a donkey. I'm never going to get this. Okay. What do you call an unpredictable camera?
I don't know.
A loose cannon.
Oh, nice. Loose cannon.
These are Sony's.
Yeah. Those are Sony's.
This podcast not brought to you by Canon. Unless you
Well,
want to
the
sponsor
third
us.
camera was Sony.
Nope.
I mean, it
Unless
was
you want to
Canon.
sponsor us, Canon.
What do you call a belt with a watch on it?
A belt with a watch on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
A waste of time.
Oh, God. Gah! I was imagining a dude with a big fossil watch as his belt buckle.
Oh, yeah? Oh, Fossil. I remember
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah. Okay. People are usually shocked that I have a police record.
Really?
But I love it. It's their greatest hits.
Is there a band called Police? Oh, yeah, there is.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Dude,
The Police? Are you kidding me?
I remember now. Yeah, I remember now.
Roxanne. And then oh man, there's so many good Police songs. If you haven't had a stage with the Police, you got.
I've heard some Police songs. I just forgot they existed.
I'm a big Sting person. As a bass player who sings.
So I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon.
A chicken and egg?
I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon.
Okay.
I'll let you know which one comes first.
Oh, God. That's gross, bud. It's not going to be the egg.
Probably the egg.
It's not going to be the egg.
Okay, you go.
Can you imagine somebody sent you an egg in the mail? You open the box, and it's like...
Amazon does.
They do not.
They do that.
You cannot.
You can order eggs from Amazon.
No way.
Yes.
And they're never cracked.
I have no idea. I've never ordered an egg from
Sounds
Amazon.
awful.
Go ahead.
I told my girlfriend that she drew on her eyebrows too high.
Really?
Yeah. She seemed surprised.
I genuinely really liked that one. They're too high? What do you mean? What kind of bagel can travel?
What kind of bagel can travel? Like, okay, I think everything bagel, so then I think an everywhere bagel. But I don't think that's not the joke. What kind of bagel can travel? Flying, driving, riding in a boat. I don't know.
A plain bagel.
God! I was so close! Flying!
You really sound like you're very close.
I said flying!
Oh, okay.
I should have thought.
Plain bagel.
But I'd be so pissed if I got on a flight and got all the way to my destination and then the door opened up and a bagel rolled out. Oh my, Captain Bagel!
Captain
What
Bagel?
are you doing here?
Was that it? Are you out?
No, I got one more.
All right, perfect.
What has 4 wheels and flies?
A flying car?
No. One more guess.
4 wheels and flies. I have no idea.
A garbage truck.
Oh. Solid. That's a good one.
All right,
All right, that's it.
let's get the hell out of here.
Let's get out of here. We're going on out of here. That was week 16.
All right, I'm
another
leaving.
podcast.
I'm gonna go away now.
Thank you for continuing
All
to
right,
listen. Oh,
goodbye.
I meant to say this at the beginning. If you listen, please comment that you listen so we know that you exist. All right? Thank you. We'll see you next week. And what are you doing, man?